Welcome. This is Crimey Queen. If you're joining us for the first time, this is the channel where we get excited about love. This is where we ignite that which dwells from within us, that which comes alive, makes us laugh, makes us smile. Hence we say the crimson light is live. So let's continue to laugh and smile, because when we laugh and smile, we are increasing the endorphins in our bodies. And of course, I'm believing by that we are able to produce um, more effective behaviors or just be better expressions and versions of who we truly are, which is what we're endeavoring to do on this channel. It's all about love. Of course, this being about love, we are reacquainting ourselves with Mother Eve. We are connecting the dots. We are going back to the Garden of Eden, you could say. And so far, it has been real fun and like a wonderful playground with new discoveries and finding out, of course, that we can reestablish a healthier relationship with our Mother Eve, of course. So we have been doing ones numerical values for numbers 1 to 4. So far, we have been going over this and just to understand the nature and significance of the numbers. So let us look at number 5 today. We have done 1 to 4 so far. 4 has been very interesting and has given us the opportunity to do at least, I think we have done 3 presentations on the number 4. Of course, the number 4 reflects 2 quite a bit with that B. So, of course, this is, we are dots, just connecting the dots, just reminding us that we are dots. And this is the template that we are working from. We are working from the sacrifice template. If you're new to this channel, I really would urge that you have a look at the templates to actualizing self-full love, or a synchronistic template that is quite thorough as well, but it gives an in-depth of how we have derived that this template, which we believe is very robust for the journey that we are encountering. And as I say, this is Mother Eve. We have different versions of Mother Eve, but it's just like you and I. We are the same, but we may have varying features. One has thicker lip and one has higher cheekbones, and it's just, but we are still the same. Okay, so we are looking at number 5. Okay, so I'm going to take this off. And let's look at 5. We have got quite a bit on 5 already because, of course, it was through the number 5 that we discovered so much about Mother Eve. It is through the number 5 that we discovered that Christ and Eve all equals the same. So when we have got a compilation of words as well that we have figured, we have seen to correlate perfectly with the number 5, and how Christ, of course, doing the numerical value for Christ and Eve and waters, and how those words have taken us back to Genesis of chapter 1, verse 2, thereabout, when God looked upon the deep of the it was on the face of the deep and divided the waters from the waters. So we have got quite a lot on 5, but 5 seemed to be that sort of number that seem endless. So I'm just going to draw on a couple parallels again to show how, for instance, the waters, the word waters, 195215. So that's 10, and of course I'm hoping that you get a chance or you have known how the numerical values work, but this is how each letter coincide with has its numerical value, and this is how it works. So so this is 10 and 7 17 and 1 18, and 5 is 23. So we see that 23 equals 5. Hence, 5 is in direct correlation with Eve and Christ. Okay. But I am basing a lot of this on Eve because I believe that we have missed a crucial point of what seemed to have put more of a separation with ourselves and Eve, and not really acknowledging the holistic aspect of who we are. So hence I believe I have been guided to do this, whether it was through my own personal interest as well, to see and examine how we can re-establish our relationship with Mother Eve. Because Mother Eve was waters. Waters equals 5. And we also see from the last thing that God did, where man came alive and came a living soul, here's what happened with number 5 as well. And God breathed, B-R-E-A-T-H-E. Let's see how that, can you see? Yeah. This is 82159. So there we go. 5 and 8 is 13, and 2, 13, 14, 15, and 1, 16, and 5, 16, 21, and 9, 20, 30, 32. So 32, 3 and 2, 5. And so we see what happens, how 5 has showed up again in that last thing. It's almost as if it is the first and last, although clearly we see that when we do the numerical value for the word end, it equals 5, or ended, when it is said God ended his work on the 6th day. So ended here, it's 5. So that Eve, of course, we've breathed, God breathed in man's nostrils. So the breath, of course, which is 5, breathe is 5. It's as if the number 5 is key to life. In fact, let's just look at the word life. In fact, life is 5. Yes. So breathe, breath here is key to life. Okay, so you can't have a key that fits without there being a perfect match to whatever the template that for that key is. So here we go. For life, let's see. So this is 5, 6, 9, 3. 5 and 6, 11, and 9, 20, 23. 23. So we can see that we have been dealing with 23 and 32, whether it's the mirror aspect of the numerical energies. So waters, we see the waters, and we see that the reverse or the mirror aspect to waters is Eve. We look at breathe because that's what God did, and God breathed. Hey, in fact, for Eve, sorry, is 14. It's 1 and 4 is 5. But here it's breathe, where we see that the waters, and we see breathe. It's like the waters is what has flow. It has movement. It has of course, it's life, as we see life here, and God breathed in man's nostrils. Nostrils is nose is 8. I hadn't done nostrils yet, but we see for nose it's number 8. So it's that 5 and 8. Here we see 5 plus 8 equals 13. So this is the magic number that has been coming up all the time. We have seen that with number 4 and number 2 in particular. So we see that there is magic here and breathed in those nostrils. It's like the key. Here we see the key, and life is the key. And when we do, of course, the numerical value for the word key, which is 7, 5, and 2, 7 and 5, 12, 12 and 2, 14, 14, 1 and 4 is 5, goes in direct correlation with Eve when we do 5, 4, 5. 5 and 5, 10 and 4, 14. 14, which gives us 5. Okay, so there we see the magic of number 5. So we learned that number 3 is really the magical number, but here in all these this investigation, if you like, or this reflection, we see that there is a very important aspect to our makeup or our existence in the earth through the number 5. We see how Eve had been central in all of course we know this from the story of Adam and Eve, but I think it's important that we reflect from the onset of that creation when it says, and God created the heavens and the earth. And of course, that first verse of Genesis chapter 1 is just giving the capsule of what happened. But when we get into number 2, which is reflective of number 13 here, because when we look at our template, we see how 13, it's like where the agreements come to form a bond, as I usually say. You might see that show up in many of my presentations. So it's 13, but it's also 1 and 3, and it's also 1 and 3 is 4. It's also the bee, which is the beehive. It's the business. It's the body. It's the buttocks. It's the breast. It's all of those things that nurture and give life. So we see that happens here in this column. So just to we may have to do several presentations on number 5, although I have got compilation of words. Of course, there are thousands of words and words and words. I don't know, but I just feel those words are very prominent, or they are very frequent in our story of the sacrifice, or our story of creation and our existence, and words that have very profound impact upon us as a people. So I thought it would be very useful to look at those words and see how number 5 connects with those words. Okay, so I mean, for instance, the word breathe. That in itself it tells us so much, because breathe and life, it's really one and the same. We know if we don't breathe, of course we have no life. Or you can't, maybe you don't breathe for a while, but it means that you have to breathe eventually to know that you are alive. This is what we understand. And this is the same thing as if we need to be in Christ to have life, to be in Christ, to accept Christ. And now we understand what that means in numerical terms. We now understand in numerical terms, the essence of number 5 is to be alive. Is to be here in this column here, where in this new, because this is where we are told when we are in Christ we are a new creature. This is the column here, 5. So of course, this is our template. When we hinge onto the word sacrifice, we see that this is exactly the column where Eve had eaten of the fruit and found herself here, and with the 8, I keep saying it's that 8 of opening the third eye. 8, the numerical value for 8 or 8 is 8. We see it, 8 is the same thing. It's all in the same new. It all puts us here or in the gypsy journey. The gypsy journey is where we have a second opportunity. It's like fine tuning that which we have, or whether we get a chance to eat again, or whether we get a chance to fine tune what we have eaten or reflect on it. But our eyes are open anyway on that journey. Or sometimes our eyes are open and we are not fully conscious of what has happened. So that might be another thing that happens here on Gypsy Journey. It's like you travel around and you think, hang about, this looks familiar. And so it takes your mind back to another area, because this is what we do. We think of what we have done, where we have been, because it's where we recall. We do our recognition in this section here, because in the new we are very occupied with the newness of whatever it is, where we are coming from and perhaps where we are going. So there's a lot to deal with in the new column. After we have done the Fox Street, this is Fox City. This is where we have left things behind, or we decide some things we really shouldn't carry on, take them with us. So we have found ourselves in Gypsy Journey. This is the Gypsy Journey where we are using wisdom, or we know that we need to let some things go, so we are moving from heaven to earth again. Okay, so we are talking about the number 5, and of course, which correlates with the I am, that I am. The I am that I am also equals 5. This is the word, or what the name God had given to Moses on Mount Sinai. I am that I am. Now, whether one wants to just use the word that, and if we were to use the word that in this sense, which equals 13, it takes us back to the number 13 I have just worked out, where where God breathed in man's, it's the nose, the breath, which is 5, and the nose, which is 8. So 5 and 8 equals 13. So we can see here it's like nothing is by itself. There's a marriage that happens here, and that marriage is that 8 or it, or each comes under the 5 column as well. So it's as if 5 is carrying a template or a mark, because it's already showing as if it has it has 2 ends to it. Let's look at this. So 5 has 2 ends. So 8 is like this, or whether we want to put it upside down, let's just put it the other way, or we have it this way, and then we have 5. Okay, so I'm trying to see how I could do 5. Okay, so 5 would be, okay, all right, but this is about, okay, it's a way of saying that it's got a key. It's the key to 8. It's that breath that goes through the nostrils. There is 5. It has that, if we were to do, I'm just wondering if I could do it this way. 5. Okay. And it really doesn't matter so much which angle it goes at. So this is the 5 here. Perhaps if I had used the contrast would be better, but it's as if 5 is the key. 5 is, it's not as if, I keep saying as if, it is key. 5 is key to life. And it's like you could imagine putting your key through the lock. It has to have this the exact combination or the exact pattern that the key would fit through that hole to unlock or to lock. And so this is what happens with Eve. Eve has been the pattern or the key. Hence the word ended equals 5. It's the last thing you do, whether you are going in, you go into your house. Before you get into your house, it would be the last thing you would do to unlock the door and get in, so you shut that door. Or vice versa, you are leaving your home, you lock your door and you go out. So basically Eve is serving us as the key to keep us, whether we want to be on, whether we choose to be on this side of the spectrum or that side of the spectrum. Eve is key. And so I think it does make sense for us to start valuing the aspect of what nurturance or what Eve has offered or has left that legacy for us to be able to understand the principles of life. It's really saying, I have given you the keys to the kingdom. Hence the word king equals 5 and dom also equals 5. So I'm going to end this presentation with just the few words we could see here as well. I have just said key equals 14. Another word that equals 14, which is cell, the cells in our body, cell, that equals 14. Of course, they use cells in prisons as well. So there we are saying this is the cells, or cells give us life. It denotes life. Whereas, so we could be on choosing which side of the spectrum that we are going with. The word stars as well is 14, 114. The word shut, S-H-U-T, is 14. When we add 1 and 4 together, we get 5. So we are just looking at some words that really present, that gives us very profound or has strong impacts on our lives. So here to view something, we are always, everything we are doing, we've got a view or opinion or view about something, or we are seeing something, we are viewing it. Hence it was said, and Eve saw that the fruit was good for food. The word good as well equals 5. So we see that there seemed to be that template, that not only template, there is the direct frequency of everything matching with itself. Hence the mother of mothers, Eve, also is the mother of Christ. We are seeing that we are looking at this it depends how you want to look at it, and I know that this is very serious statement here, whether we say it's the mother, if we were, or whether we were to say the brother, but we see that there is a direct numerical value with Christ and Eve. And hence, when we associate the color pink with the third eye, that too equals 5. So the color pink equals 5. And I thought that was very interesting. The word Easter, which has been associated with what we are doing, the word Easter equals 5. It equals 23, and that is 5. So power, of course, when we are in Christ, we are in power, we feel powerful, and that is in direct correlation with Christ. It's 32, the name Christ, the word Christ. And Christ spoke of the chamber in Luke of chapter 22. Verse 11 or so, and the secret or the guest chamber. So the word chamber as well, when we are talking about the chamber up in the middle of the brain with the pineal gland together equals 5. Life, as I say, equals 5. The mouth that we eat and where that which has been used for the agreements that we use when, of course, our mouths we use perhaps more than anything else, but we use our mouth to eat, and we not only eat, we speak. So we have those functions that we use our mouth. That's key. And hence the scriptures say it's not what you eat that defiles you. It's, it's basically saying as well that the tongue has the power for life and for death. So basically, we are seeing that there is a very powerful tool that we possess with the mouth, and that in itself is in direct correlation with Eve's behavior of having ate of the fruit. So we all, although it may be seen as a symbol, but it's that which we can say now. Anytime we think about the fruit had been eaten or Eve ate the fruit, we can think of Eve. Our mouth is Eve in that sense. Our mouth denotes whether we keep it shut. Again, this is like a key. We can keep it shut. We can keep our words within us, or we can keep our words out. So this is really like key, like the word key. I have done the numerical value for the word key. So the word key equals 5. Here we've got the 5 here. So this is like our mouth. Hence, we are given the opportunity to open our third eye or keep it shut. And it's because the third eye is also key, because they are one and the same. Okay, so we know the word I, of course, equals 8, but we see how the two ends of the 5 on here. Okay, let's do this in another fashion. Okay, let's try this another way. So we see this is the key, the third eye. Let's get a contrast. Okay, so we could say this is 5. I'm trying to think of what 5 looks. 5. Oh, I've just done it. Okay, 5. Okay, there we go. Okay, so basically, oh, this is interesting. Okay, so this is 5. This is 5. Okay, so basically it's as if we could see that the 5 has really, it's a way of, it's like it serves as a hook. It can penetrate and it can come out. So it's like it goes, it's a bit like the work of a free, but it actually has the both sides, the opposite. So it takes us, in fact, I'm just thinking I ought to have had more of a curve here, but it really doesn't matter so much. It's because here we are. Okay. Yeah. So this is what we have for the 5, and this is the nose where the 8 comes, because Again, the nose, it's as if 5 is to remind us of the word breathe, because that's what gives us life. So we have it for the nose to remind us. It's like it, all constitute the same